Hey everybody, this here is a Westinghouse LivelyAire 12-inch desk fan, model 12LA3. And this is a fan that I've had for some time now. I actually got it back in 2022. I've had it for quite some time. I actually got it the same time I got that 10-inch Westinghouse LivelyAire, the 10LA4, the second one that I got, that I made a recent video of that's supposed to be going to Dan Spiffy Newman. I still have to get around to sending that to him. I still have it downstairs. Um, but yeah, this one I got at the same time as that. Got it from the same person. And it came from the same seller that had those 4 Dayton Industrials that I sold to Dan. And so he said he had those two. This one, it worked fine. The other one was the one he said was locked up, I think, and I fixed that one, the 10-inch one. This one worked fine, but when I got it, the switch was kind of finicky. It didn't really work like in 100% of the time. I thought that the low speed resistor was going out because it would work like on high most of the time, but low speed, I think it was kind of like it wouldn't like turn to low sometimes. It was weird. So I took the base off, and the switch kind of like basically crumbled in my hands when I took the switch off, or when I touched the switch. So the switch obviously needed to be replaced. I had quite a time trying to find a replacement switch, which, as you can see right there, because it's a 2-speed fan, so it needs to be a two-speed, 3-position switch. However, I could only find 3-way switches, and the way that they work is they have 2 terminals and 4 positions. So it goes 1 terminal first, the second terminal next, and then the third one is both those terminals at the same time for like a 3-way lamp. And my light is flickering really badly. Let me fix that really quickly. Okay, those LED bulbs for some reason start flickering for some reason in when I have the dimmer on. I don't know why. Um, the lights in the dining room do that too. I think it's just the LEDs, honestly. But anyway, back to this. So yeah, that would not have worked for this because that would have powered the high speed, which was just the motor, like the motor at full blast, basically. The low speed, which is the resistor in the base. These have a resistor that is basically wired in series on the low speed circuit to power the fan at a lower voltage, or lower current, I should say. That's the same voltage. But the third position with a 3-way switch would have been both the high circuit and the low circuit on at the same time. And I'm not entirely sure, but that does not seem like it would be good. That just seems like it would be shorting something, or just wouldn't be good electrically for the motor or the speed resistor. So I really wanted to make sure I got the right switch, and I think I found one that is proper. I got it from some hardware store site from out of Texas. Um, and it arrived last week. I installed it, but the thing is, it has 2 high-speed positions. However, I did test it with my kilowatt meter, which I got a kilowatt meter finally. It took me forever to get out of the packaging, but I finally found a use for it. Um, and I tested the current with the amps and the watts, and they're both the exact same on both high speeds on this switch. So I'm pretty sure it's fine. Um, yeah, it seems like it's fine. It doesn't act funny or anything on the second high speed. Originally, it would have gone high and then low and then off, but this one it goes high, low, high, off. So there's just an extra high stuck in there at the very end for some reason. And the switch is riveted together so you can't take it apart like the old one, which is like held together with like tabs. So anyway, this one is about this model. This is the 12LA3, which came right before the 12LA4, I believe, as you can see. And they're slightly different. Probably the main difference you can see is the blades. This one came out these were from before 1954. The plastic blades came out in 1954. So this is definitely pre-1954. The blades are aluminum. They're stamped, obviously. They are painted a grayish color, and the center is painted the same color, the champagne sort of color, as the base and the motor housing, which is pretty neat. I actually just noticed that. I thought it was a darker color for some reason. In all pictures, it looks a little darker. But they did have earlier versions. The earlier ones that were painted blue and tan from, I think, the late 40s or mid to late 40s had these same style blades, but they were polished instead of painted, but they still had the same painted button in the center. After 1954, they switched to the 12LA4, which had the plastic or Hemcolite S-R blades, as we all know. These were patented in 1954, and they have the braces between the blades, or the wings, as I think Gustav Koch called it. Gustav Koch, of course, was the designer of this model. Designed it back in probably the late 30s, and he was responsible for several of Westinghouse's popular fans of the 30s through the 60s, I believe, and maybe even into the 70s, because his designs continued on. But he made a lot of, like, all the Air series, the Power Air, Mobile Air, LivelyAire, everything, basically anything with counterclockwise blade rotation like these. So yeah, he was a very, very popular designer, very, very influential in Westinghouse's design department. These, of course, are sort of Art Deco style, which is really nice. They have that motor housing that I like to refer to as the microphone motor housing. Some people call it the egg, but yeah. And one interesting thing I've mentioned before on these that Westinghouse did is they varied the polishing and painting of the fins on here. As you can see on this one, which this is the one that I got from my great uncle before he passed away, when we cleaned out his house before he moved to assisted living. Found this one in his basement, and he actually worked for Westinghouse, so he probably got this one brand new at the plant when he worked there, which is pretty cool. But tangent aside, this one has painted fins on here, you can see. But this one, the fins are polished, and that's just something they did. Some of them they painted, and some of them they polished, I guess, depending on whatever they were feeling like doing that day. I personally like the painted fins better. I'm not sure, that's probably just because this is the very first fan I had, and that's what sort of sentimental, I guess. But the polished ones are quite nice. It does more resemble a microphone. Very, very Art Deco, very streamlined. I love the teardrop bass. And then this bass, of course, was reused in the Standard series. The ones that were 3-speed and had the same cage as the Power Air. Now, anything else? Oh yeah, I believe this fan was used in a hospital previously, because on the bottom here, the felt is in pretty poor condition, but there's a little piece of masking tape that says Nursing Room West. So it was either in some sort of assisted living nursing home or a hospital or something. So probably a hospital. It also has on the side here F2427. I can't really tell. It's a little worn away, but yeah, that's definitely a hospital of some sort code. It's in pretty good condition. The base has a couple scratches on it on the bottom there where the cage has rubbed against it. I don't think it was wall mounted. I think it was just sitting on a table or something in a hospital office somewhere. Headwire is all still there. Original headwire, original cord. It's got a little electrical tape in there. I think I might have done that actually when I was in there last, just to kind of preserve so it didn't fray. That one grommet's broken, but that one's all still there. So, with that being said, I guess let's go ahead and turn the fan on high speed. Start it off on stationary. It's oscillating just a slight bit. These do have variable oscillation. I don't think I've ever mentioned that, the way the oscillation wheel works, but you can see it on that one. It's the exposed oscillation wheel. And you just loosen that little nut and slide it out however far you want it to oscillate. So of course, let me make sure there's no wind noise. The metal blade is more powerful than the plastic blade. I did do a sort of crude measuring last night, and I did determine that this one is pretty much a lot more powerful than that one. On both speeds, low and high. The rattling is the cage. It does that because it's a little bit out of balance. I balanced it as best I could, but these stamped blade sets are kind of hard to balance. Especially when it keeps doing that. Okay, yeah, that's better. And then it starts right back up again. Okay, let's turn it down to low now. And it's the original speed resistor in there, still works. The speed resistors in these get pretty warm because it's I believe a nichrome wound resistor. Ceramic, so they do get pretty warm, but not hot enough to like burn. It's very quiet on low speed. I actually was running this one last night for some time. Okay. Do spin down from low. You probably saw that extra high speed in there. And I did give it some oil, I think a couple days ago, just because I hadn't oiled it since I got it. So I figured it needed a drink. It certainly seems a little bit longer than it was, the spin down time, so that's good. Okay, very good bearings. Alright, so now let's engage the oscillator. I'm not going to show it like with the variable oscillation, I'm just going to show it all the way. I think these are also variable from 0 to 75 degrees, just like the Emersons. So Westinghouse was trying to compete with Emerson. Okay, let's start it up on low this time with the oscillation. These have a pretty fast, swift oscillation. Okay. High speed. So it still needs a little bit of balancing, but that's not as bad as it was before. It was shaking all over the place before. But it works on both speeds. I'm very happy about that, because before it didn't work. Well, before it didn't have a switch, so finally happy to put this one back into service. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this one or not. I do like the plastic blade ones just a little bit better, but I don't know. I do love these LivelyAires. I think they are probably one of my all-time favorite fan models, simply because that one was, you know, the first one I collected basically in this collection that I have now. Yeah, so that is the second high position on the switch, and you can see it's not acting any different from the first one. So I'm pretty sure it's just, you know, the same like, I don't know, same terminal block on the switch, if that makes sense. Okay, spin it down from high and see how long it takes. Wow, okay, that was a very long spin down time. This one's got really good bearings. And the blade design, I actually didn't notice it before. It kind of reminds me of those Nat Monarch fans, like the Kenmore that I used to have, except it's pitched in the reverse direction. I think, yeah, those were clockwise rotating fans. So, um, turn this one back around so you can see them both. So yeah, now I do have another 12LA4 that I've never taken a video of. It's actually one, I don't know if I've mentioned it. It's one that I've had for some time. My grandma gave it to me. It's from the other side of my family, ironically, same exact model, but it's missing the oscillator parts, so I don't know. It's downstairs. I might do a video of that one if I really have time or feel the need to, if enough people want to see that one. So, but that is just about it for this one. Oh, I forgot to show you guys the badge. Westinghouse 12LA3. This one is part Y4692, and this one is 489 or 4693. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That one would come after this one. Yeah, so I think that just about does it for the Westinghouse LivelyAire 12-inch fan model 12LA3. So thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video.